Hey, what's happening, y'all? This is Dealer Destro back with another Modern Era G.I. Joe video. And for this video, we're going to be doing another custom corner call out slash discussion slash whatever. Wanted to take some time to show y'all my kind of, I guess this is an Evolution 2-pack technically, because what you're looking at here is the IDW take on a new character, Krake, and his eventual ascension to the role of Cobra's supreme leader. So this is my take on it. I know that these two customs have been beat into the ground, literally. So yeah. So I mean, folks in the custom community, you know, I've seen these guys carded with custom artwork, and it looks great. You know, I've seen all kinds of different takes on these characters. This is just, you know, this is my take on them, and I want to say this one was done several years ago, maybe 4 years ago ish. And this one I recently finished probably like 8 months ago, maybe 8-10 months ago. I just call it a year. Had the parts just like laying around, whatever. Finally had time one night, just said, you know, I'm gonna do a custom figure. So I guess let's get into it. This is a little different because I'm not used to showing off my stuff. So here we have Krake. I'm not sure how nice my camera's gonna play here. So what we'll do is I'll get this off frame, and I think that helped. So let's see how close we can get in here. So there he is. And this head, I want to say I ordered from a customizer who runs the Angel Forge store, maybe. I think that's where I got it from, or maybe it was a Shapeways thing. I don't remember. Either way, I really, like, at the time, you know, folks were scrambling to crank out, you know, the custom community, I should say. You know, they were scrambling to get out their take on the figure, and I thought this one was the best for the time. I'm not sure what else has come along since this one, but I would say this one would be pretty hard to top here. So, and just so everyone is aware, my customs are fully playable, meaning I can move the joints and there's no paint rub. And you can tell that because you see this area here, how it's sort of recessed. It's because I fully disassembled the figure, dremeled the joints. So what I can do, right, is I have full articulation and there's no paint wear or anything like that. Because when you sand down these connecting joints, the paint has nothing to rub up against. So, you know, you get what's known as a fully playable, fully posable custom. Full disclosure, I did just have to glue this back on before the video. So, for those of y'all that don't do customs, or you know, those of y'all that do, I mean, y'all know that anytime you take on a project, there's going to be maintenance, upkeep, whatever, as you play with it. Stuff that's glued on probably maybe will eventually come off, depending on the quality of materials you're using. So I want to say that these shoulder pads were from a Marvel Iron Man figure, and then this torso here was I want to say the Pursuit of Cobra Duke, if my memory serves correctly. And then the upper legs are from the Pursuit of Cobra Duke, and then I want to say the lower legs are your standard run-of-the-mill standard issue, like Cobra Trooper, maybe. Lower legs, holsters glued on. I had an extra beachhead knife from one of his vests, so I just slapped that on the forearm. Pistol, I don't know what figure that pistol is from. And then this one here is, I want to say, from Retaliation or Rise of Cobra. Snake Eyes with the silenced Uzi. And then, you know, this figure is fully painted. I had to paint everything on him. So red, I will tell you, red is a very hard, difficult color to work with. For those of y'all that are wondering about that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I want to say that this head came to me in like a clear plastic cast. So I didn't primer it or anything like that, because it had looked, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the paint would adhere to it, and luckily it did. So all I used here was like insignia blue testers, and then flat black, and then I want to say that color this is a Citadel color here. I want to say when I bought it, it was scorpion green. I'm not sure what alias it's under now, because Citadel has a tendency to change the name on their paints and whatnot. So yeah, so whatever that, I mean, it's you'll know the green, like, in the hobby shop when you see it or whatever, if you guys are into that kind of thing. And then I gave him just a generic 2-peg Cobra stand that he sits on, and he basically just sits on my shelf, just like this, next to what I'm gonna say is probably one of my favorite customs of all time. And really, this thing right here was like a super duper simple one to put together. So I want to say, once again, the padding here is from a Marvel 3.75 Iron Man figure. This cape is from I want to say a Thor figure that I had picked up from Ross on clearance. And then these pistols are just, I mean, your standard run-of-the-mill, nothing special, flat gray pistols, and they're both different models to kind of keep it interesting. And then I want to say this web gear here is from like Resolute Destro, maybe. And then these lower legs here are from the Viper figure. And then let's see if I can't get his head off and take the cape off and kind of show y'all like underneath and whatnot. So this is the cape. So for that little emblem there, what I did was the Cobra Commander that came with a cape, take your pick, the 5-pack, DVD pack, whatever, right? He has kind of like this collar thing where it has 2 Cobra things sitting on the shoulders. I just cut one of those off and glued it to that cape to kind of make it look like, that's where it's kind of pinned over his shoulder. And then what I did is I took a Cobra sticker, and then I painted this torso. I want to say this is like a Rise of Cobra, what is it, reactive armor, Duke maybe, Ripcord, one of those guys. And the reason I use that is because if you look at the source material there, whoops, it's not in frame. I thought it was the closest for what I had handy for a 1-for-1, and then I realized like the shoulder pads are a little off or whatever. But I mean, I think for what it is, it gets the job done. Mercenary Wraith gauntlets painted. And I want to say I used flat aluminum for all those paint apps. And then I was really impressed with this head sculpt. This one I know for sure here. I think this one is an Angel, one of those Angel Forge head sculpts. And it looks like I got to do some touch-up work. Yeah, that side needs some touch-up. But yeah, so this came to me in a flesh tone. So I had to put all the paint on there, and I got it as clean as I could. My hand is not what it used to be in this day and age, ladies and gentlemen. So, I got it as good as I could get it to where I'm satisfied with it. And really, that's really all you want to shoot for. Because really, at the end of the day, that is all that matters, ladies and gentlemen, is if you are happy with the final product. And I think on a shelf, man, I love that. I love that figure. Whenever I got visitors come over, I have these guys stood in front of the Shockwave and Soundwave HISS tanks, and those are normally like eye catchers, like people are drawn to those, and then they look at these 2 figures and they're like, who the heck are those guys? And I'm like, oh, that's the guy that would eventually, he's a new character, and he eventually went on to become the new Cobra Commander. And people are like, that's what Cobra Commander looks like? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of where I was, and that's where I left off. I'm not sure if Krake and this storyline is come to a close or not yet. I never finished it out, but I did get a lot of the Civil War run at the time, and then I want to say I got part of the Cobra Command run. And from what I read, I really liked it. I think that was one of my favorite story arcs for the G.I. Joe franchise for a while. It was fresh. They introduced new characters. The way that kind of the Cobra organization, the hierarchy worked with the council voting in who the commander was. And he took the reins when Chuckles assassinated the Cobra commander that came before him. So, and again, this here, like I'm an old school fan, right? Like I've been read all the old comics and whatnot, or I shouldn't say all of them, but I read some of the Marvel run. What I got out of it, I liked. Naturally, I mean, it drew me into the story, the mythos, whatever. But this is my favorite Cobra Commander right here. He was ruthless. I mean, his first act as commander was he put a hit out on the council that, pulls the strings behind the scenes. That was his first act as commander. So that should kind of tell you what kind of personality he has. He's very authoritative, very on the offensive, and as he makes his moves. I mean, where I left off, I think he deployed forces of Cobra into Moscow, and was just his tanks were just on the streets. So he took Cobra kind of as like this shadowy organization into the limelight, and that was kind of where I left off. So I'll eventually get back to it, finish it out, and see where it's at. And if it's still running, then great. If not, like I said, I will definitely be around to close it out, because that was my favorite. It's just, that I had to stop because, between toys, video games, comics, like all the hobbies, like paint, like custom materials, all that stuff, things add up, and then you eventually get to a point where you got to start picking and choosing, and that's where I'm at right now, even still. So there's that. So just wanted to take a couple minutes, show y'all some of the stuff that I've worked on, and we'll come back around as I get more stuff done. Current project that I'm working on is this guy. I have no idea what he's gonna be. Probably some sort of beefy bat type character, like a new prototype that maybe Mindbender's working on. I don't know. But yeah, so appreciate you guys tuning in. That's it for this video. Please, if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe, and that way, as I get new videos up, you'll get the notifications and whatnot. So, till next time, hope you guys take care. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the flip side. Thanks a lot.